Howdy plumbing friends, welcome to Plumbing with Tim. Today we're on location at our favorite little roach hotel here in Melbourne, Florida. About a year ago I was out here. You've seen me do some videos here already in the catwalk back behind the rooms and stuff. About a year ago I was in one of the rooms, several rooms, and replaced 3 handle tub shower valves and a few tubs. And today we're back. They finally got the room back together, and the lesson in this video is to show you how easy it is to install the trim on one of these newer Delta single handle tub shower valves. All right, I want to get this room back up and going. It's been down and out over a year now. And there's that tub I put in. The tile guy left quite a mess, and then they did a nasty job of caulking. There's the valve right there. We got to put the trim around it, as well as the shower head and the spout. So let's do this. All right, so these single-handled Delta tub shower valves usually come with a trim box like so, and I've already taken them out, and I've got the trim laying down here on the floor. And we have the barrel, we've got the spacer that's inside of the barrel, as well as the escutcheon for the shower arm, not to mention the 2 screws for the plate, as well as the handle, a little set screw. They also give you a little Allen wrench key. And this right here is the adapter that we're gonna have to sweat on the piece of copper coming out in order for it to screw in to this diverter spout. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut that copper. Usually leave about 3.5 inches away from the wall out. We're gonna cut that, we're gonna sand that down real good, then we're gonna sweat that little adapter on there first. You're gonna sweat it though. There's a little rubber O-ring on here that you're gonna have to take a little pick and pull that out, so that when you heat this thing up, you're not melting it. So let's take a look and do that. Auto cut tube cutters. Only about 3.5 inches coming out. Go ahead and cut this. We don't want that much. That's just spouted out like that during the rough end so they can do the tile around it. Get that piece off of there. Might be a little bit of water sitting in here. We're going to find out here in a second. Shouldn't be though. All right, off with that piece, just like that. Now this adapter that I showed you here a second ago, let me find it. Be right back. All right, a little brass adapter. This copper over here that I just cut, it's got a slide inside here, and we've got to sweat that. One side's got threads, and the other side has a little rubber O-ring. I'm going to take a little pick, gently, we don't want to ruin it. Just pull that rubber O-ring off there and set that aside, because when we put heat to this with a torch, we don't want to melt that. So we need to clean the inside of this with a brush, and then we need to clean the copper here so everything is cleaned and ready to adhere, and put flux on there and then sweat it on there. So let's go ahead and clean our parts. I didn't bring a good brush up here, so usually I wouldn't go back and forth because that room's brush, this brush is already half blown out. I'm just making sure that the area inside of here is clean for it to adhere solder. Remember, we're working on a single handle Delta tub shower valve, one of the newer style. Now that's cleaned off, we're gonna jump over here and we're gonna clean that copper off. Now remember, not all these diverter spouts are like that. Some of these diverter spouts come with little hex head key in here and they send you a wrench, or you can just tighten it down. But in this case, we're doing it with a sweat on kind. So let me go ahead and get some flux on here, and then we'll set our fitting in place and torch it on. All right, so I'm going to flux the inside of this fitting, and we're gonna put a little bit around over here on the copper end, like so. Just a little bit, because not the whole thing is getting soldered. All right, at this point, what you want to do is you want to take the threaded end, and slide it towards the wall. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can get this on here. Just like that. Now, the biggest thing we're going to do is we're going to be sweating this joint right here. All right, so no water escapes. And then when you slide that spout on, it screws on to those threads. Let's go ahead and get the torch set up. Remember, you can't just rush and go put that little O-ring that I showed you came off there. That's going to go on that groove right here, but we're not doing that until that thing cools off at 600 degrees. What we're going to do next is we're going to jump up here. We're going to put our shower arm on there with the shower head. All right, shower arm. You can see that one side's longer than the other. The long side goes into the wall. What we want to do is we want to take our Teflon tape and go the same way on the threads as you would be screwing it in, not the opposite, because when it gets screwed in, you want it to stay on the threads and not get peeled off. Put it nice and generously on there. All right, then we're going to take some Rector Seal. I don't have any Rector Seal 5. I've got the T2 Plus. We got to get some of the 5, which I enjoy better. And this is optional. Some of you guys are like, nah, just use Teflon tape. Well, as you see in most of my videos, I like using Teflon tape as well as Rector Seal. It ensures a good seal every single time, and you can never be too sure, especially when you're up in a hotel and the way people abuse plumbing and everything else. Every chance you get to make sure that everything is going to be sealed and watertight is your best bet. Now let's go up top. All right, this is a thick wall. We're gonna have to try to aim this thing in and catch that wing L back in there. You see that? Don't cross thread it. I feel like I've caught the threads. That's good. Nice and easy. All the way around until it starts tightening up, until it sits straight down at the bottom like this. That looks really short coming out of the wall. And the reason why is because they rebuilt this wall. The wall would have been rotted out, and that wall is like this thick. So it takes up most of that arm that's in that wall, but it is the proper way. You want the long end in the wall first. Now we're gonna repeat the same thing, put some Teflon tape and some pipe dope on there, and then we're gonna install our shower head. All right, here's the standard Delta shower head. The Delta makes a lot of different shower heads, but the basic one, the stock one, that comes from Delta in the trim kit kind of looks like this. It's normal. One thing I did want to take a few seconds here and show you, there's a little screen that's in there. This is optional. You can take this out or leave it in. This is to help pick up debris and to keep the shower head from clogging up. In this case, I usually like to go ahead. Let me see if I can do this. Probably not. Take and unscrew that middle piece, and I'll show you in just a second. Now this discussion right here has a film on it. It's sometimes a little bit of a pain in the butt to take off. And be very careful when you're messing with this discussion. These little edges are very sharp. You can cut your finger just like a paper cut in no time. Just be careful, be mindful, don't be in a rush, take your time. Take this little protective cover off here though before you put it up on your shower arm. You see I'm just kind of peeling it off. Nice and easy. It's very sharp, those little edges. There it is. Let's go up here and let's install that. A little discussion. That wall, there we go. See that? Now it's on there. Now we can go back and put our shower head on. Just like that. And everybody's happy. Now at this point in time, you're gonna probably have to get maybe a smooth jaw wrench or put a rag or something on there and take a little wrench and tighten that. You don't want to leave teeth mark on there. That's notorious, especially with maintenance guys and the homeowners. A little towel with your channel locks or something, just to tighten that thing down enough. But you don't want to look like an amateur and leave a bunch of teeth mark on there from your wrench. All right, shower head's in there nicely. Our little piece down here is cooled off. See, it's called time management. While we were waiting for this to cool off, we went to another part of the trim install and we kept it going. So that's ready for the spout to go on. But remember, we still got that little O-ring. Slide that thing over like this, and it just goes over that front lip. Just like, this is tough to do one-handed, trust me. This is not simple. And it'll fit right there in that groove. And that's what seals that thing. The diverter spout. Here we go. We slide it in there. See, it's threaded. Slide it up in there, twist it until it gets nice and tight up against the wall. Right, like that. Now we just have this. Now, one problem I'm seeing though is in order to install those screws that hold the plate, look up inside of there, see the little hole? Yeah, that's what the screw is hold to. Unfortunately, I can't see the screw up in there because there's some drywall or mastic mud. I'm gonna have to break some of that out in order for the screw to get through there to hook onto the valve. Go any further, these are the three next things that have to go onto that valve right there. First, we're gonna take this oversized O-ring, and we're gonna slip, and we still got a little bit of mud in there from the, we're gonna slip that over the bonnet nut. See, watch, over the bonnet nut. Just like you see me do. It's sitting right here on the back side of the bonnet nut. Next, we're gonna take our little barrel. We're gonna take our little white spacer, and it sits inside of the barrel like this. Push it all the way down. Can you see that? What that's gonna do is it's gonna hug the valve. We're gonna take this open end, we're gonna slide it in. That rubber washer O-ring you saw in there is gonna grab on to the barrel and hold it into place. Kind of something like that. This is our cover plate. You can see the name Delta as well as monitor. You want the name Delta to be to the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna slide this plate on like this. Now you're gonna have to be patient with this. If you haven't done a bunch of these, you're gonna have to line these holes right here. These holes are what your screw is going in to catch those sides of the valve. So it's very important that you just take your time, don't cross thread anything, and try to get those screws to line up at the wall. Either gonna go in or they're not gonna go in. Sometimes you're gonna have to move the plate around in order for it to line up back there. Little set screw. Take and set it on your Allen wrench. And on the bottom side, which I showed you that hole, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to at least start that screw. Don't drive it all the way through, just enough so it's holding a thread or two. Just like that. Now we're gonna slide this onto our valve. Just like that. And it's gonna be, when we are facing this valve, when the trim's on, it is meant for the handle to be facing directly to your right. And make sure it's slid all the way in. Take your little Allen wrench, nice and easy, and go ahead and tighten it the rest of the way down until it won't tighten anymore, just like that. And that's your install. The last thing we'll have to do, and I'm not going to bore you with that, is to put some caulking around this plate as well as the diverter spout at this time. And that's it. Pretty simple, but there are little things you have to remember when doing things. As simple as it may seem, many people still call plumbers to come out to do this kind of work. I do it in my sleep. So let's wrap it up. And there you have it. Nice new trim. Spout's a little bit closer than, I think the reason why I ended up having to do that close like that is because of the way the wall and everything was on the other side in the catwalk shower head. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Very nice. One more thing I want to show you and then we're going to be done. Okay, last but not least, one of the most important things to do, and remember when you do one of these trims on a Delta tub shower rough end valve, you're not done until you set the scald guard. And I'm going to show you, check this out. For safety reasons, Delta sets this scald guard to keep from burning seniors and children. This type has a thing where you pull out on this middle insert and twist to your left until you can't go any further. That's full hot. Now, if you aren't going to do this and you're at a customer's house and you forget, you're going to get a call back saying, I don't have enough hot water. And now you're driving all the way across town to just take 2 seconds. You should have done that in the first place. Set your scald guard. Hey, that's all the time we got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it and stuff. A lot of you plumbers out there, you're not going to get any use out of this because you do it all the time. But some of you homeowners or maybe a handyman or new plumbers that are just getting started, these are things you're going to end up running into. And just take your time and be patient. I didn't show you the shower valve installed, just the trim. And most importantly, don't forget to set that scald guard. Until next time, it's been Plumbing with Tim. Keep plumbing.